Hello Fly Tyers, welcome to another episode of Aaron at the Fly Desk. Today we're going to just tie an old school olive woolly bugger, and we're going to put this golden cone head on it. This is one of my favorite flies. It's a timeless classic that about every fly tyer has tied once or twice in his life. So first thing what I do is I like to use a little red thread. I like a little bit of red on my flies. And I've got a 5mm cone head bead on a size 8 hook. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put some marabou on this, and I've got just some olive marabou, and I like to get the fluffy side down towards the stem. So I get a clump of that out, and I actually tie it all the way to the cone head, or close, and then I leave my thread to where right where the barb curves up, that's where I begin my fly. So once I have it tied in, what I do is I just break it, and then I get a nice even taper on it, and it's nice and fluffy. It looks good. Then what I like to do is I like to put some sort of flash in my tail. So this is just some olive crystal flash. So we're going to get a few strands of that. And I just tie that right into my tail, and then I'll cut it to where it's just coming out the end of my marabou tail. Okay, the next thing we'll do is we'll just get a little bit more marabou, another clump of it, and I'll tie it in like so. Then you have a nice big fluffy tail. The reason why I use down on the stem is if you use some of this that's out towards the end of your marabou shanks, it's a lot stiffer and it doesn't move as good in the water. Alright, next step we're going to do is we're going to put a body material. This is just some olive leech yarn. I think the color is pond olive. And this is a fly that I tied a lot in college. Everyone was using yarn and chenille, and me and one of my friends started using this leech yarn when it first came out. It just gives it a little bit different look. So we'll go through that here in a second. So I put on my leech yarn. Then I'm going to grab just a good old hackle feather, and you can see this one's pretty webbed, and you can tell when you bend it, it doesn't all break open, so you have to pull it. And webbed means when the fibers stick together, and that's the stuff I want in this fly. As I get towards the end, it's not sticking together as well. So I take my feather and I just pinch it, and then I pull, and you can see I want to get where it's webbed like that. So I'm going to go about right here. I'm going to cut the tip of this off. And then I trim it so I've got a nice little stem that I can tie to. And I'll just tie this feather in, just like so. And I'm going to wrap towards the front of my fly. Okay, now I'm going to take my olive leech yarn, And I'm going to start wrapping that as well. Just one over the other to where I get a nice clean looking body. And then once I get here at the head, I'm going to really build it up so it helps position my cone head where it's not wobbly. So now I've got a nice stable cone head, and I've got my leech yarn tied in. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get just a little wire brush. I'm going to brush this leech yarn out, and that's going to give my fly just a little bit more bulk. Okay, now we're going to take our hackle feathers. We're just going to wrap through. And try to keep your spacing pretty even. You can do more or less than I'm doing. I like about an 1/8 inch gap in between each hackle. And once I get here at the front, I really get liberal with my hackle. And that does two things. First thing it does is it bulks the fly up at the head, which is how a normal bait fish looks. Second thing it does is it really gets my cone head in there to where it's tight and it doesn't spin. So the next thing I do is I pull all that hackle back, and you can see I've still got a little bit of a gap right there. So this is a trick that I learned to prevent my cone heads from spinning. Is what I'll do is I'll get a little bit of dubbing, and on this one I'm actually going to put just a little bit of brown olive seal dubbing in. You don't need a lot on this. I'm going to put a little bit of super glue right in the fly, and then I'm going to get this brown dubbing. I'm just going to roll it onto my thread. And now what I've done is I've packed that that space of my cone head in with some dubbing and super glue. That's going to make everything nice and tight. And the last thing we're going to do is we're just going to whip finish. And there we have it, my friends. Just a good, clean looking olive woolly bugger. I love this fly because you can use it for a variety of trout, bass, bluegill. If I had one fly I could take anywhere and didn't know what kind of fish they were going to be, it would probably be some sort of woolly bugger like this. So there you have it, my friends. Just a simple olive woolly bugger. Thank you for watching this episode of Angler Made's Aaron at the Fly Desk.